Ah, great friend. Welcome back. Right, this was an experiment. Something new, something fresh. Very reminiscent of, another experiment that I did a while ago. But where to start with this? I suppose the beginning is adequate. So there's an old corp mate that hasn't been around in a while. His name is Reticle. Uh, quite infamous in the Blue Star scene. Definitely a monster to watch out for. But Reticle, around the time when Dark Nebula came out and people were starting to figure out, what works and what doesn't anymore, he kind of had this certain build in mind. Um, Always thinking outside the box with that guy. Yeah, so he saw that everyone was using, Vengeance with their alpha shields and their weapon amplifier, and I guess he just thought, well, I don't care much for Vengeance, why not just stick a suspend on there? And it worked out for him. He definitely did some solo runs with this build. More so because he had BS6 at the time, because everyone had BS6 at the time, so he didn't have a second drone slot, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure he just used the repair drone because, if you're not going to go with the shield, make sure your health is high. Um, and so, years later, here I am thinking, suspend is cool, but it is kind of the same build as what everyone else uses. And leap is, cool as well, but it's a little too easy. I mean, I'll use leap if I don't feel like thinking, if I just am too tired. So I thought, well, why not get outside the box a little bit, get outside of my comfort zone, right? So yeah, you just got three of these alpha shields with weapon for fire, then solitude, of course, and then suspend, right? And something I must note. I mean, there's a lot of things to note, and I might not get to all of it because it's all off the top of my head, sort of stuff. And I don't script these videos, but each battleship has three ways of dealing with a sector, or have three options, right? So I know before with the regen shield and like suspend or leap, they would have two options. They would either use suspend or leap, or they would use EMP and just sort of sit in the sector. This kind of adds a third. So one, you do have alpha shield and weapon amplifier that will knock out pretty much any sector that isn't the planet sector, but it does a lot to the planet sector too. And then you suspend. Suspend alone could take out a sector, as long as the planet sector. But please excuse that. It's old man near the room. And then there is decoy. Now, of course, you could put decoy on your leap and suspend battleships, but most people, don't. But seeing as they don't have a shield, decoy acts as a shield. I know some Serbs go around decoy like phoenixes and, well, I guess bombers, but everyone else has a single target weapon, meaning that they'll always fire at the decoy drone. And since I have it at 12, it does have a fair amount of hull at 2700, so that's a pretty decent makeshift shield if needed. And that's just one battleship. I've got three of them that have that same setup, right? So this was just an experiment to see how well that held up. I mean, he was a Reticle, the guy who kind of started this whole build. He was on PC, so he could do a lot of things at the same time. I'm on mobile. I don't have a PC yet. So trying to see how well I could do this and keep up with everything. And to be honest, it is difficult to keep up with everything, but not impossible. Not quite. Um so yeah, getting into this, so the spawn isn't too bad. You got Planet level 10 here, but no Phoenix, not too shabby. Planet level 9 with storms, no big deal. The planet sectors, only one of them had a bomber in it, so not bad. There are a lot, and I do mean a lot, of adjacent bombers, though. So that is something to take into consideration. And that's the thing with this build. It doesn't do too well against bombers. Like Suspend and Decoy aren't really going to help you with bombers. So you kind of have to rely on your Alpha Shield and your Weapon Amplifier. So to start with, I figured, well, I don't have to hit the Hydras early because I can do that while I'm burning the planet down. You'll see. So at the start, I will burn my Amplifier and Alpha Shield to kill the or to knock out some bombers. You know, get at least 3 of them out of the way. You know, in this start, that's like half of the bombers I have to deal with, so that's pretty good. This one, I tapped both of these, but I guess it didn't register, so the bomber got a free hit on me there. No big deal because I do have Repair Drone, and Repair Drone does have a 3-minute cooldown, so I can heal myself, you know, constantly as long as I keep on top of its cooldown, right? So, but yeah, use Alpha Shield and Weapon Amplifier to knock out these bombers. Now, you might not need Alpha Shield to kill a bomber, but I mean, one, I did have a lot of bad luck with my Vengeance ship, which is also kind of like this, but with Vengeance instead of Suspend, with the bomber killing it because they would get like a direct hit somehow, some way. But 2, it does help knock out any other Serbs that are with the bomber, especially when there's like 2 Colossi and a bunch of Guardians and Sentinels. It just knocks them all out while also killing the bomber. And I figured because I have some time left on this, I mean, I could have teleported much sooner than this, but I could potentially be greedy and try to do this. Only issue being, like, trying to get more out of my Alpha Shield and Weapon Amplifier. Only issue with this is that my teleport has a 30-second cooldown. My Amplifier and Shield have a 32-second duration, so I get about like 7 seconds of free damage. Not too shabby. And I meant to, I was going to use Decoy Drone here, but I realized this thing had fired. And I wasn't too sure how close those rockets were compared to the other Serbs, so I decided to just bail and deal with it later, as it were. And yeah, so I knocked out 3 bombers. So that's the first step. Second step, you suspend. Since Alpha Shield and Amplifier have a similar cooldown, get those cooldowns started early. And whatchamacallit, so you suspend after that. Now, I didn't use suspend on all of my ships. I kind of got a little distracted here and there because I was trying to make sure the ship doesn't die, so teleported onto the unshielded Serbs first just to kill them, because even with suspend, Sentinels can still do a decent amount of damage to you, you know? And just try to, use the darts to kill the Phoenix Shield. Move around a bit more. If you are actively moving, it is unlikely that these darts will hit you, unless they're right next to you, of course, so shouldn't be a problem. And so at this point, I realized that the destroyers are already spawned. Now, I'm not going to intercept them. I'm going to let them go onto their planet. I just wanted to go over here just to clear out more of the sectors that are closer to the entry point. Those ghosts kind of gave me a rough time when my suspend expired, so I had to leave, and I forgot to use Decoy Drone to kill these Guardians, because 5 Guardians can do a fair amount of damage to you, So, and I moved out of the way of the rockets, just in case. because those rockets were aiming at this asteroid and all that stuff. So, so far, it may look like I'm struggling, but this is all kind of part of the plan. I haven't even used my repair drones, which is probably a bad thing. Also, I was killing this thing over here. Probably a bad thing because I would want to use my repair drone as soon as it's available. Though I guess finding the right serbs to use it on might be a bit of a stretch. So at this point, we have a cooldown period. Yeah. Which is honestly kind of nice. You know, I get to take a breather and reassess what's going on before the Big Bang, right? And to be honest, I could have. I was waiting for my alpha shields to come off cooldown. I could have teleported onto these storms, or at least this storm, and knocked them out while I was waiting for the shield. I accidentally tapped the 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 X at the top. Excuse me. Back to where we were. So there's a bit of a cooldown period where I wait for my alpha shield to come back off cooldown. Just to keep in line, because I'm going to teleport onto the destroyers. Yes. Teleport onto the destroyers and knock them out. Yeah, and I think I was trying to organize my civilian ships as well while I was waiting too. So definitely could use some tweaking there, some efficiency adjustments, but not too bad. So these two are off cooldown. I believe this one, was just about off cooldown. Oh, excuse me, got a little frog in the throat. Good lord, you need my coffee. So the plan for when there are bombers in the sector, in the planet level 11 sector, teleport onto the bomber first, and then move towards the planet itself. That way, you'll get some free damage on the bomber, which by the time you come back to this planet should be almost dead. And plus, the main goal is just to knock out the destroyers, mainly. Everything else is just collateral. So, same thing over here, teleport onto the planet, use my alpha and amplifier, use repair drone because you might need it. Over here, I believe it took me a second to actually use repair drone because I forgot to. Because the Phoenix will kill it pretty much instantaneously. So, yeah. So over here, I probably missed that, right? Over here, so the idea was to use suspend right after these two have got low on cooldown. But there was a bomber in this sector and also an adjacent bomber as well. So I didn't want to take that risk. So I teleported out before the alpha shield expired. But over here, I believe I did use suspend right when those got low. Sadly, again, I forgot to use my repair drone, so my hull was getting scratched up a bit. And I was going to do the same up here, but the suspend was on cooldown. No big deal. I can come back and suspend this sector later. I teleported right here just so that bomber will stop firing at this ship over down here. So yeah, I moved out of the way of the Hydra so I could use my repair drone. Even with the suspend's like massive damage reduction on Serbs, as you can see, this Hydra would still have 438 DPS. That's still a lot of damage. So, want to keep that as low as possible. So I can just sit here and knock out the rest of this Hydra. And at this point, I realized the time. And I hadn't even cleared the Hydro sector yet, so, I was trying to skedaddle on that. So here, I believe I was going to try and knock out that bomber, but I got distracted up here trying to make sure everything was safe. So this is the first part of the star, right? Clearing everything out. Of course, it's the easy part. The hard part is always, it's always the defending while you're also trying to clear the rest out. So I got my civilian ships in already. I did not see how low this one was going, even though I had suspend. I guess its hull was pretty low. So luckily I saw that when I did, because that would have been a dead ship. So yeah, I just panic teleported anywhere outside of the sector. Made sure that these two ships were okay. They're low on hull, but they're still all right. And I noticed that these ghosts were spawning, so use the ship to defend it. And yeah, a decoy drone. I didn't really use decoy drone that much as intended. It's intended to knock out those easier sectors. Sectors like the five guardians, or like the seven guardians, four sentinels, and a couple of colossi. Sectors like that. Because the decoy drone can tank a lot of that damage, especially if you knock out the sentinels first. It can, it, it will shield you for quite a lot. But while defending, I can use it to not lose hull when killing ghosts, or simply just something you'll see down here at some point. I use it to actually no, that happened already. I used the decoy drone to keep a bomber in place. So a bomber was on this asteroid. I was down here with a decoy drone. And I moved towards the bomber in the like on this asteroid, and it didn't move because the decoy drone was still there. So I could sit on top of the bomber and have it not move, which is, like probably not the best thing because you still take damage, but at least I don't have to keep up with it. So yeah, decoy drone definitely a useful thing to have, and pair that with repair drone, and if you're on top of things, you don't have to worry about much. So this one's hull is pretty low, so I'm gonna use decoy drone to make sure I don't lose any more hull. I launched a repair drone from that planet just to enter this planet, and I believe I just used alpha and the alpha and the weapon amplifier just to knock the rest of these out. And that's another thing. All this defending, like while you're waiting for your cooldowns, you can just spend your time defending, making sure everything is safe. And then once everything is off cooldown, you can start getting back to the murder. So all three of my ships, if I can find them. Okay, right. He's defending over here, but yeah, they all have their cooldowns up. I burned this one just to get this planet cleared. I burned this one to kill this bomber, and yeah, I didn't mean to have the splash damage from the bomber rockets kill that repair drone. Sadly, I was a bit off, but luckily this interceptor walked by and it killed it for me. And that is how I usually heal off of interceptors with my vengeance ship. If my hull is low, I'll just use amplifier and the alpha, and also repair drone, so the interceptor can guarantee kill my repair drone. It's a useful little thing there. So yeah, I didn't quite finish that bomber, but whatever. The time got really low there. It was like at 40 seconds. Again, I spent a lot of time double checking things. I could have been moving more and more, but I was trying to make sure everything was safe. This was kind of a risky star. Goes without saying. And I was planning, I was expecting to lose a ship or two, because this is the first time I've done this. So I was planning to come back in with the usual suspend brawler with regen shield, but luckily I didn't have to. It's quite nice. So same thing over here. Use alpha and wamp to knock out the phoenix and the hydra over here, and then use suspend once that is up. Although I don't have suspend, so I have to teleport out. Yeah, I need to plan to use or have suspend available for that, but it's okay because I can just leave and come back once it's available. No big deal. So yeah, moving the transports around. Did a surprisingly well job on defense, despite the hull and whatnot. Sadly, interceptors kept spawning in the one planet that isn't cleared, so that was a bit annoying, but oh well. And yeah, I could have knocked out that bomber with one of these ships, and I believe I did start to do that, but I was just making sure everything was safe, and plus, less risk as well. Alright, this was a really close call as well. You see, when there's an interceptor and you don't have EMP, I would normally move with the EMP, or with the interceptor, because when it goes over you, you don't quite kill it. But I was up here, distracted with these two and the transports and all that nonsense, that I forgot to move the ship, and I was like, oh no. So I teleported onto here, and I realized that there might be like one tick of damage on that, and yeah, the stealth was on cooldown for these because of an unfortunate spawn when I moved. So I moved right before that interceptor could hit that, and it got one half tick, or actually one tick, of firing on this transport. It was very lucky because the first tick doesn't do damage because of I'm guessing because of a coding thing to make sure that stealth automatically works. But the second tick does damage, and I forgot how many ticks are in a second. I think it's like 5 or so, 5 ticks in a second. So yeah, that was really close. That was less of my build and more of just me not realizing, or just forgetting that to move. So close call there. But yeah, so from here, just try to knock out that bomber. I should have used amplifier. Yeah, that's the thing with amplifier too. Amplifier has a very short cooldown at 2 minutes. You can use amplifier twice in the time that it takes Alpha Shield to recharge. So I really could have done that for bombers. Just in general, I could use amplifier for lone bombers and whatnot while I'm waiting for Alpha to cool down. But that isn't something that occurred to me until after the run. And yeah, again, I keep missing the rocket splash damage. I don't know why I keep missing that. So I stayed with the drone until it would repair me. But all in all, though, I must admit, and again, apologies for all the rambling, and yeah, just gonna amplifier on that. Apologies for the rambling, but this was a pretty good run overall. Definitely makes you sweat a little bit, and that's a good thing. You can call it my From Software masochism showing through, but yeah, the whole regen shield and regen and solitude and all that. I mean, even though you do have one slot for variety, suspend, leap. Some people use barrier too for like rockets and stuff. Just it doesn't really change how you play that much, But not having a regen shield and having 3 options to take a sector on, it's pretty fun, must admit. And yeah, I was kind of spacey in this run as well. I kind of like I was making sure everything was safe, but I was also just kind of spacing out a lot. Kind of like this recording too. I apologize for that. Things easily distract me, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this was a good run. Definitely something that I'll have to refine. Like the strategy should work. I just have to keep on top of things and make sure everything works out and whatnot. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. That bomber didn't move until that drone, that decoy drone, went away. But yeah, so how would I refine this anymore? Well, the build itself is okay. The jumping on bombers, that is a sound strategy, I feel. Adjacent bombers, I should specify. Um, yeah, jumping on the bombers and then using suspend for some of these trickier sectors that aren't bomber sectors, but ones that would require more than just decoy drone. Although luckily there weren't that many in this star. Like a sector like this, I could definitely get away with using my drone for, but this sector wasn't in the way. It was off to the side, so I didn't need to clear it. So it was mostly just these guardian sectors that were in the middle. So, but yeah, when these sectors are kind of in the way, I can use suspend on them if I need to, and use decoy for the guardians, things like that. Just sort of improvise, I guess. That'd be the right term. Just improvise. After the first couple of steps are done, and then once the destroyers spawn, stop everything, move over to, or just get to a safe spot and wait for your cooldowns to come back. The destroyer takes 3 minutes to kill a planet, and well, your alpha shield has a 4-minute cooldown. But if you use it from the get-go, it should not, it shouldn't be on cooldown when the destroyers, or you should have time to kill destroyers after it gets off cooldown, I should say. So yeah, I think this is a pretty sound strategy. I might try to work with this for a while, see how I feel. But yeah, I guess that will be all. the rambling over. So I shall see you around, hopefully in a more collected state, yada yada, and ta-ta for now.